most people don't understand is, if you're serving a threefold, number one, it doesn't always happen right away. Number two, when it does happen, it doesn't necessarily end just because you die. In fact, you could be serving it for many, multiple lives before it's finally ended. And once you die in one life and then become a spirit again, it's not like you just get a break while you're a spirit and don't feel any pain. The biggest thing that people miss is that spirits, the spirit realm in general, pain, the way that we feel it physically, that kind of pain still exists in the spirit realm. The only difference is that the kind of pain that you would be exempt from would be any kind of pain that maybe per se a burnt out body was giving you. Because when your spirit, detaches from your body, you're no longer connected to your body. So that kind of pain may dissipate. But any kind of pain that is due to a chakra imbalance or something that you've done wrong and you're serving a threefold for it, that kind of pain will not end, because the source of the pain is a different source. The source of the pain is coming from literally the center of the universe. It's a punishment. And so just because you die doesn't mean that just ends. So there are some simple threefolds that could be over within a few months, and there are other threefolds that literally people are surfing for thousands of years. Hate to break it to you. Especially if they don't learn their lesson and they just keep adding on the same mistakes, or it's not really a mistake anymore, the same acts of ill intent over and over and over again, and they're just lengthening that time. Some people never learn, and so sometimes they start out with about 100 years and eventually they get to thousands and thousands of years. So there comes a point where a soul becomes so shattered and broken that, either you need to be taught some serious lessons, or there's no hope for you, and you're never going to turn around. You're never going to be good again. And that is where, one or two things happen. Okay, even a spirit can die, which a lot of people don't understand that either. But even a spirit can die. If you're given all the chances you're given to do the right thing and you still fail, then your actual spirit is killed and you literally cease to exist. That can happen several ways. There are hunters in the spirit realm, hunters that might hunt you down and consume you. You might slowly just kind of drift off into the abyss, but many times, and I'd even stretch it to most times, you go to a keeper. The keeper continues to punish you until she or he sees fit. And then once the punishment is finally done, which is excruciating torture, then, you're begging to die, but only when they see fit do they actually kill you. So in pagan mythology, not really mythology, it's just a pagan belief. Mythology would be saying that it's not real, but there's an ancient pagan, I would like to say keeper, because gods and goddesses, that's kind of that terminology in my view is too representative of old Abrahamic. It's too representative of that kind of Greek era and things. I don't like using the term gods or goddesses more than I do God. I just don't. So I would rather say keeper, but really it's up to you, is what you want to call it. And long time ago, at least in one of the clans that are kind of native to, I'd say, I don't know exactly where, but probably Scotland area, somewhere in Scotland. We, in the native tongue, called it Kradhos. That is who we call, and I'm sure no one nowadays calls it that, but when I first heard of it, that's what it was said to me. Okay, and so we all have different names for different things. So basically, Kradhos is not only there to punish you severely, but to decide whether or not you can learn from your mistake. And if you can't, she's going to torture the living fuck out of you until she finally sees fit that you die, that your entire spirit dies. And at that point, the way that you die, she eats you, basically. I mean, she feeds off of, basically, that's how she survives. She feeds off of spirits that have no chance at ever being good again, and therefore they do destruction to the universe, and it's her job to kind of clean up the universe. And her, sustainability, she feeds off of them. That is kind of how she gets her energy. So what she'll do is she'll give you the most excruciating amounts of pain possible, and it usually reflects the way that you've pained others. It's usually reflective in a way that you've pained others. So say you poison someone to death for insurance money, okay, then she will give you the pain of that poison, but she will amplify the pain so that you feel it maybe 10-fold, 30-fold. Poison is very painful in and of itself, I know, because I've been poisoned. So I can only imagine how bad that would feel if it was, amplified, especially something that you would ingest or something. So basically, she's giving you that pain amplified, and she elongates it, and she decides when it starts and when it stops. Basically, she's saying, hey, this is how it feels. And this is what you do to other people, or whatever you've done to whoever. This is how it feels. First off, that's what she's going to do. Secondly, she's going to try to pick and pry at the core of who you are to see if there's anything left worth sparing. And she's going to test you, much like a fawn will test you, much like a fawn tests you. That's kind of how she's going to test you, through mind games and things like that. She's going to try to trick you to do the wrong thing, maybe potentially at times. But the most of what she's doing is just kind of sitting back and saying, okay, what are you going to do? What are you going to decide? She will explain the significance of why it's important to mend and go back to doing the right thing, but you probably won't listen. The very few who do listen, she gives mercy. She does. In fact, most of us that are alive today have gone to Kradhos at least once. So, that is saying that it's possible for people to learn the lessons. And she will refuse, even if you beg to die, even if you feel so bad for your mistakes, even if you finally do feel remorse. And at that point, you're like, I don't deserve to be free. I deserve pain. Keep paining me, please. Just pain me for the rest of eternity. She'll refuse, because she'll say, sorry, you've learnt your lesson. I'm going to let you go now. I cannot, and I will not, because you're too precious to waste. So there is a very motherly, forgiving side to her. Have you show her something that is worthy of that? when you finally learned your lesson, you're going to feel immense remorse. You're going to want to be pained for eternity. You're going to want to be punished. I know that sounds weird, but if you really learned your lesson, you won't even want to die. You will want to suffer because you think death is too good for you. You'll think that death is too easy and that you need to suffer for eternity. That is how bad you will feel. And so when she finally lets you go, you're going to be very mad at her because you want to stay there to be in pain. As bad as it feels, as much pain as you're given, you'll want to stay there because you think you deserve it. So you walk in there all arrogant as fuck, and you come out, thinking that you deserve eternal pain. But at least you learnt your lesson. And for those of us, like me, that, still have this wisdom and knowledge of things like this, to this extent, it's just kind of, it's something that is as mundane as, your morning breakfast. I mean, good, because we know that's how it happens. We know that's what it's like. We know that's how it works. The Abrahamics think that it's a fiery pit that you stay in forever, which there is no said place to burn, and there is not necessarily fire either. So, it depends on what you did, and it's, it's definitely not, she's only there to, like I said, cleanse the universe of spirits that are so evil that they will never, ever be good again. And to try and, put your head back on straight if you're capable. If you're able to be spared, she'll try to teach you a lesson. But it's these stupid Abrahamic stories have no meaning to them. They're just, they're theatrical. They're birthed out of fear, and really what it is a very, very powerful keeper and protector of the universe. She's the one that is responsible for a lot of balance that is being reset, and because the universe will not kill you unless you literally have proven that you will never, ever be able to do anything good again. So you could be 99% evil, and she still doesn't have the permission from the universe. She still doesn't have permission to kill you. Only at the point where you've proven, at least in your future, that you will be 100% evil, does she have permission to actually consume you. So you could be tortured for a long time, but you wouldn't necessarily actually die unless there was zero chance of you, coming right round in the future, for lack of a better term. So I'd say, technically, if you're 99% evil now, but later you'll be 100% forever, she could kill you then. It all really depends on you. You decide your future. You decide whether or not you're going to change, and all you have to do is prove whether or not you are capable of change. So there you go. That's Kradhos.